Welcome to the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, your guide to motorsports sponsorship. Here's your host, Josh Weesey.
Welcome to this episode of the Sponsored Rider Club podcast. That's not going to work with a mask on. Welcome to this episode of the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, live edition, which is powered by AMSOIL. Have my son's Jack Skellington mask on, and I don't know how kids can wear these things for more than like 10 seconds. I was very claustrophobic just wearing that for a minute. I had to take my glasses off because it got smashed up against my eyeballs. So, it's good times though. You guys are lucky you didn't get the other masks. Those ones get even scarier. Well, enough of the masks. Welcome everybody. Glad you could join. I'm super excited. It's been a little while actually since we've done one of these. I usually do 2 live shows per month, and the last one just happened to be like in the middle of last month. So we're knocking one out this week, and then next week can come back. We've got Evan Schendel of Polaris Razor coming on, and then Shelby Anderson might make another little guest appearance on that show. So super excited for next week. But we're here to talk about this week. We got Taylor Heiman on. She's already joined. Welcome, Taylor. Woo woo. And then we got, Kevin Spangler's on. We got Shelby Mahan. We got Travis on. Oh, yeah. So we are rolling. A couple things that I want to tell you about. One, AMSOIL. Look at this. First off, this is like one of the coolest jerseys ever. I was actually buying oil for my snowmobile, which, it's a 4-stroke. I got to change the oil. I've never actually done that before. I always dump in my 2-stroke oil. But either way, got that stuff ordered. I was like, ooh, octane booster, add to cart. And I was like, ooh, look at this fun little jersey, add to cart. And, the money just starts adding up. But it's good. It's good stuff. This episode here is also brought to you by 2 other companies, and that is Racing Addix. You can see their website flashing behind me. And then GSP XTV axles. So they just came out with a brand new set of axles that are pretty hefty, pretty solid looking. They look like twice the diameter of any other axle I've seen before, so I'm pretty excited to see those things performing. You can contact Jimmy Moore with Bold Racing for more information on that, and then Jay Simmer about the Racing Addix. He was actually on the show before too. So I want to tell you a little bit about the show. We have got Taylor coming on here. She's going to be joining in just a minute, and she's going to talk about some of her new experiences. So she's been on the show before. And at that point, we talked about marketing and motocross. This time, we're still going to be talking about those things, but from a different perspective. So she actually just started a new business called Pressbox MX, and she got to do some pretty cool interviews actually this last weekend. So we're going to be talking about those while they're still fresh in her head. And while you're on here, feel free to comment, leave your questions, I definitely would love it if you shared this. That way we can get as much people listening and much exposure as possible. But yeah, so that's really it. I really appreciate everybody joining, and also the people who've been on multiple times. I'm really glad that you continue to come back, and even if you can't watch live, I know a lot of people are watching the replays and getting value there. If for whatever reason you're like, oh, I'm just not going to be able to listen to this entire thing live, I do publish these to the normal podcast like a week or so afterwards. So if you just hit subscribe on any of the podcast apps that you use, it'll show up there too. Look, we got Deegan is on. Uh-oh, she's going to be nervous because I just called her out. She's going to be doing an awkward turtle. This is the awkward turtle. That's the awkward turtle. Just slowly back away. Derek's on. What's up? Calculated Risk. What's up, guys? All right, well, I think it's about time to add Taylor on. So I'm going to go through the most awkward part of the show, and that's waiting for this whole process to. As long as Taylor's got her phone set up right, it just. Hey, it happened.
We're live.
I am so excited when it actually works. It's only not worked once. That was very stressful.
Oh, well. I'm glad it worked this time.
And I didn't want to tell you that beforehand because then you get stressed down and
No, we're good.
So, how's it going?
Going really good after this weekend. A lot going on. Got a lot done, and just trying to soak it all in now.
Yeah, definitely. Well, there's a lot to catch up on. Actually, you weren't on that long ago. I think we've only released like 14 episodes since you were last on. But a lot's happened. You broke your ankle, or at least severely damaged your ankle. at some point.
Yeah, I broke my ankle. I was out at Trans World for the LACR round of the Taylor Heiman series and was going for the lead, went off a jump, landed sideways, and it ended up swapping out and breaking my ankle in 2 places. So I'm just healing from that. It's going really well. I'm starting to ride already, and just a little bit of pain, but we're pushing through it and doing a lot of physical therapy and trying to do hot Pilates and stuff. That always helps. So it's going good. Healing's going good. I plan to be at Milestone next Friday as well.
Riding? You're gonna be racing?
No, just go ride and then, visit some sponsors. And then we also have the Red Bull Straight Rhythm on Saturday. So I plan to go get some more interviews done there.
Nice. So
keep the ball rolling.
And that brings me to the next couple things that have changed. So we'll kind of hit them in stride here. But Pressbox MX. So, I mean, I guess it was, 15, 20 episodes ago is when you were on. Since then, you started the business. So tell us a little bit about Pressbox MX.
So, Pressbox MX was in the works while the last time we talked. So I finally was able to release it to the public. And Pressbox MX is a marketing consulting firm tailored to the power sports industry. I really like to work with athletes who want to know how to market themselves because I really don't think a lot of people view the value in marketing yet. And one injury and you're out. But if you know how to market yourself, then you can stay relevant while you're injured, which is what happened to me. I got hurt and I was still able to stay relevant, still able to stay current in the industry and work on my business during that time too. So it's really a learning platform. We only want to teach people who want to learn. But I also have another side of things too where I work with companies and I help them with their social media. I'm working with a few companies right now. So pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that about it allows you an opportunity to continue marketing yourself or continue having an income or continue being involved in the industry if you get injured. That's huge. And the next thing too is, most of these sports are very physical. Now there are some avenues, some motorsports that you can do older in life, but there's a certain point where you just run out of that physical prowess. And a lot of things like this allow you to stay relevant after that fact too.
Exactly. And, a lot of the factory guys, they do have PR people that do this for them, do marketing for them. But, what happens if you lose your deal? You lose your PR people too. So you really need to take it into your own hands and want to market for yourself. It's only an investment in yourself. It can only help you more.
Yeah, definitely. That's very cool. I'm just going to acknowledge a couple more people join. Sarah, welcome. I'm so glad you keep joining these things. Jessica, what's up? How are you? Dave Hickey.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, we got a mom on. Hey, Mom. We got Jackie Sue on. I met Jackie Sue at Heydays, and that was pretty cool that she's been able to watch this afterwards. So, well, good. Okay, Pressbox, you're getting involved in some things. So you talked about social media. You talked about some PR. What are some of the things that maybe you've done already with Pressbox?
So, it's only been open for a month, but I was able to team up with FTT Action Sports, which is Ryan Holstein, and he is a trainer in California. So I'm doing some affiliate marketing with him. I also have Addix under my belt too, which they have been a huge sponsor of mine, and they wanted to take it to the next level with me and have me do some of their marketing for them. So in the past month, those are the two that I'm really working with seriously right now. And then also with Monster Energy Cup that just came, that was an amazing opportunity for me to get my foot in the door with them. I was able to talk with Joey Savacci, Weston Pike, Alex Ray, Seven Deuce, as you guys would know him, and then David Pulley as well. So I got some really good perspectives from a factory standpoint and also a privateer standpoint. I was able to talk to them about things that they don't get asked often. How do you engage with your audience, and what does it mean for you to be active on Instagram and to, really talk with your fans? They're the ones who support you. So I got some really cool perspectives on that. I'm working on that right now. I've been working on it all day. So I should have that out by tomorrow for everybody to check it out.
Now, is that a video or is that audio or both?
So it's going to be published on our website, and I'll do a little teaser clip that I'll throw up on Instagram tomorrow. So, it was my first time really interviewing people, and I also got Brian Deegan and Ricky Carmichael under there too. So Monster Energy Cup was a huge, huge, huge thing for Pressbox and myself.
Yeah. So those are some top-notch people, right? And I know you put a lot of effort into prepping for those interviews. Not only is it newer to your business, but like I know you and I worked together a little bit on trying to tweak and modify some of the questions, so there's a lot of effort that went into it. But what did you learn from it? I mean, are there any key takeaways that you got from those interviews?
Yeah, I mean, just being able to talk to those guys on a more personal level, it was really great to see that they actually really care about their audience and the people that they're talking to. So just from the perspective of, being a fan and then now I'm working and I'm doing the media for it. But one thing that I really took away from it was a question that I asked about women in motorsports, because it's kind of my passion project. I was on Makeup to Mud, so a question was, if there's not a place for women in professional racing, where is there a place? And to really get a question in there to make them think, it was cool to see their perspectives on that and that the industry is supporting women more.
Yeah, that's very cool. And you know what? I don't think we talked about Makeup to Mud in the last episode, did we? Well,
I don't think too much. No, but that's kind of what kickstarted everything for me, and I was able to start my business because of Makeup to Mud. My business partner, Mike Chesney, he approached me after my episode came out, and he's like, "Hey, I have this idea," and I was so on board with it, but I didn't really, take too seriously until it started becoming my own, and Mike really gave me the opportunity to make it my own and to make it what I want to be, because there is nothing to go off of. Marketing is marketing, but marketing to a specific industry is different, and there's not a lot of that out there. So to be able to make it my own, and then also have Mike's 30 years of experience in marketing with his own marketing firm, we have a really good team right here.
No, it's very cool. And I always encourage people to try things like this. I mean, I do podcasting, and that's just my little niche, but there's other people that have come up with the podcast as their own, and that works, right? And it does allow you another avenue to, sell your sponsors. It gives you another opportunity to sell your own brand or create it, for that matter. There's a lot of different avenues out there. I mean, we talk to people that do their own YouTube series. RJ Anderson just started his own vlog. People do reviews online. They do blogs. And then you're doing your thing, which is kind of looks like it's a mixture of the live interviews. And then, is there going to be some blogging too along with that?
Yeah, there will be. So yeah, if you check out my site already, I like to throw up featured riders of the week and really highlight the people in the industry. I like to give, it doesn't matter if you're fast or not, if you have a passion for riding dirt bikes and you want to learn, then I'm going to put you up on there. And on my Instagram, I like to talk a lot about mindset and inspiration, PressboxMX on Instagram. And because I really believe if you change your mind, then you change your life. You have to want to change your mind to want to learn, and you can't be so closed-minded. You have something to learn from everybody around you. And if you take the inspiration to heart, then you'll be able to learn a lot more.
No, that's awesome. Looks like we got the whole Heiman clan is joining right now. Hopefully Dan was able to get his sound figured out. It sounds like other people that can hear us, but it sounds like Dan couldn't hear from Hawaii, huh? Okay.
Yep, he's in Hawaii, so hey, Dad.
I like it. What's up, Dad? So your dad was crying for a short period of time. That's what his little emoji is. Owen, welcome. Kurt, welcome. So I want to encourage people, remind people, if there's other people that you think should be listening to the show, just tag them in there, or pull out your phone and do one of these, and tag them in the video so they don't miss it. But ask questions. That's really what the benefit of the live show is. If there's something that's on your mind that you just wanted to ask and get out there, type it into the comments. We'll do our best to kind of field that. And if not, we usually go back through these shows afterwards, and we have some time to think about questions. We can fill those in. Even if you're listening to the replay, go ahead and put a question in, and we can go back. We'll see that notification later. Well, I don't know. Anything else? I mean, especially from those interviews, right? So you had a lot of top-notch people. Was there anything else that you feel like that you wanted to take away from those interviews?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, obviously, it's a really good experience for me. I've never been the interviewer before. I've
Right.
always been interviewed. So, from experience of being on your show and Moto X Pod show, I was able to hold some good conversations with them. And, after a few of them, I was like a little less nervous and got some really good content. But, honestly, like talking to privateers a little more because they kind of know the struggle, what you're going through, and, they have to build it themselves. So, but Weston Pike was definitely one of my favorites to interview.
Yeah. So let's dive into you as the interviewer.
Yeah, that was different.
It is a little different, I'm used to interviewing people, and I recently did 2 shows. One of them's going to air tomorrow, which is with the Dirty Dooner show. So he interviewed me for the most part, and then I did one with the Diesel podcast, and for the most part, they were interviewing me. It's different.
Yeah.
So for me, it was different flipping the side. So for you, it's different as well. But I mean, what other challenges did you run into as the person asking the questions?
Well, you have all your questions written down. You and me were working on them for a week or so, and I had a few other people's input in there too. And like I was all prepared. Everybody had a list of questions, and then I'm like, get in the interview, and you're like, okay. And then it just turns into a conversation. You start off with one question that you have, and then you kind of just branch off of that. So, and then also staying on topic. I wanted to stay on the topic of marketing and connecting with his fans, and those are stuff that doesn't really get touched in the industry. So I really wanted to make sure that I was staying on my key points, and it was still interesting that people want to read about it. And then also, time is an issue too because they're getting ready for the race. This is $1 million on the line is all I'm thinking. And, take the time to talk to me, which I'm just getting started in this. It was huge for me. I appreciated it so much, but I didn't want to take up too much of their time, so I got my questions. I picked a few key questions, about 5 or 6, and then that was about it. But for the most part, I was able to get everything that I had written down, all my key points that I had written down, and it was just really different trying, being put on the spot and not answering the questions. So it was more asking the questions and also not knowing what they're going to say. That question that I asked about having, more women in the sport, that was a hard topic for them to answer because nobody knows how to answer that, It's a shame. And the reason why I asked that is to bring awareness to it. Because when you bring awareness to the topic, you're creating a solution. So that was one that was like, should I ask this? And I'm like, you know what? I'm passionate about it. It's my passion project. I want to know what the industry is thinking. And I was able to get that point of view from an industry standpoint from the best in the world competing for $1 million. So all in all, I stuck to my key points. I knew what I wanted to ask, and I just didn't want to take up too much of their time. It's $1 million on the line, so.
Yeah, I just got a couple points in that. First off, though, my mom is on. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Then we also got Rohan on from Australia. So yeah, he's been on a couple of these shows where you watch them, and I love having the fully international perspective here with
We're going worldwide.
It's worldwide right now. But the thing you mentioned about time. So just for a note, we've already been talking for 19 minutes just here.
Oh wow.
I know, like that, and that's
go off on a tangent.
That's the hard thing with some of these interviews. So like I want to pull out all this information, and sometimes I'll lose track of time. And if you're getting interviewed at a podium, right, you've got maybe 30 seconds to get all your things out. But pre-interviews, you've got to kind of manage your time a little bit. So how long were the interviews that you had with those folks?
Anywhere from 6 to 10 minutes.
Okay,
so not too long. And I really, I'd ask a question, let them answer, move on to the next question. Yep. So I got their perspective on it, and then I would move on to the next one because, short and sweet, done and done.
Yeah. Definitely.
Also, I have to listen to all that again, too, and write it down. So.
Yeah. I got to interview Travis Pastrana, and he was like, that was the top when I got to meet him and interview him. I got, I think, 1 minute and 43 seconds, and I didn't know exactly when it was going to happen, so I was kind of in line waiting. and I had my microphone ready, and I was shaking, you know, and I was like, don't mess this up. And,
Yeah.
you know, either way, he turns to me and just immediately, he's like, hey, who are you? Nice to meet you. And I was like, welcome to the Sponsored Radical Podcast. Yeah. You know, that's the time he had to give, though, and he was on to his next thing. So it's kind of crazy. And even just from the writer's perspective, it was intense.
Really funny because I actually wasn't nervous at all. Yeah. But when I went to go interview, in my first interview, I talked to Ricky Carmichael, and it was on the track, and you know, he had a really cool perspective on women getting back into it, making them their own race to race, like how they do with the All-Stars and have a women's class instead. Yeah. But how I got about Brian Deegan's interview was I was walking back up because I had credentials from Monster Energy to be there. So this was press day on Friday. So I was walking back up to go up to the press box, and Susan Cooper, who is the director of Brian Deegan's new film Bloodline, was walking down while I was walking up. And she's like, you're media, right? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, do you want to interview Brian Deegan? And I was like, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Had no questions for him at all. But I love Brian Deegan because, you know, he really created a marketing empire with him and his family. Yeah. So I know a little bit about Brian Deegan, and I was very excited to go interview him. So get talking to him, super humble, and, you know, the questions just started flowing because I am a fan of Brian Deegan. I do know him. I love his daughter. She's breaking barriers for women. So that was easy to do. And I actually talk about Haley Deegan a lot in my capstone project. I'll be graduating in the next 7 weeks from UNLV. So it was great for her school. It was great for me. And then, you know, Brian works with FTT Action Sports, who is a client of mine. And he works with his son, so Hayden. So was able to get some questions for him, get his insight on things. And, yeah, like I said, he's a marketing empire, so it's really exciting for me to talk to him.
No, that's awesome. I do have a random women in motorsports question for you. Because you probably know this from my show, or people have watched enough shows, they're going to see a trend where I bring on a lot of female riders and racers, and I would love to continue that trend. But there's something I read. I actually didn't even read the whole article. I think it was just a headline. But it was talking about a new women's series in like IndyCar racing, something like that. So my question for you, I already have my own opinion on it, but my question for you is, it's a women's series with IndyCar. Should it be separate from the men's series?
Well, you know, I do think that there should be a separate race for women everywhere because, you know, women compete against women. Cars is different because that's really no separation of skill.
Yeah,
that's what I like. Actually, what Brian Deegan said to me, too. He's like, you know, if girls can't get into Moto, get in the car. Because then that's just your moto, you know, your motor instead of and it is biologically hard for girls to go against the men in these kind of racing. So for motocross, you know, I do think there should be a division for women, and if the woman is too good for that division, go race against the men. But at least you have time, you have camera time. At least you will have your own race, you will have a chance, you'll be able to get up there. And if not, then go race with the men.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly how I was thinking about it. Because when I first read it, it was Jim Beaver that had posted it, and Jim Beaver's been on the show a number of times, and I respect his opinion, you know. And he basically said, look, this is kind of disrespectful at this point because with the car, like you're saying, the skill set is levelized. You're not relying on physical strength the same way as you would in motocross, or say ATV or something like that. And so he's like, why would you do this then? Keep them like you got Haley Deegan or Danica Patrick, or you know they're trying to levelize that playing field with Moto, and we definitely had a lot of UTV races on here. Like Kristen Matlock came on here and absolutely smoked everybody in Baja, right? And so his point, which I agree with, is like, is that almost disrespectful at that point to have a separate series of a car race, whereas like motocross it makes sense. I don't know. That was just one I was like, I don't.
You know, in a sense, it might be limiting women because then that's just another avenue for women to go, okay, you know, we can just race this and then we don't have to push harder. But the girls who, you know, would think of the glass half full would be like, well, I will go win this women's division, and then I'm going to race against the men. So it can go either way. But either way, giving women their own class and their own media attention is never a bad thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's like, I guess just having it is great, right? I guess that's the ultimate takeaway.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Good. Looks like Calculated Risk Racing Team agrees as well. So awesome. Well, hey, look, like we've been talking about time, it's flying. So we're already 25 minutes in this interview. I mean, is there anything else that you kind of want to close out? I haven't seen questions come in yet, but is there anything else that you want to add to this interview, things we haven't covered already?
Just a little bit more about Pressbox. I'll be continuing to interview. I'll get professional opinions. I'll get privateers' opinions. I'll try to hit all avenues, and I will also be doing, you don't have to be fast, like I said before. So if you want to shout out, message me, let me know your story.
Mm-hmm.
You're all important. So I want to help everybody succeed. And, I'm hoping to make some marks with Pressbox. I met some really amazing people this weekend. Some really, really good people to know in the industry, and I'll be attending more races. So.
That's awesome. Well, if you ever need, the sponsorship perspective, let me know. I know a guy, and he can tell you some things.
No, you definitely helped me out with those interview questions before, so.
Awesome. Oh, look, we got a question. Right, I was about to close it, but look at that. We got a Heiman on here. Was there any intimidation talking with the pros?
I felt pretty comfortable talking to all of them. The only one that, I was a little nervous about talking with was Joey Savacci. And that's just kind of because he was busy all day. So I was like, oh, man, like he's really taking the time to talk to me right now. Mm-hmm. And, there was a lot going on around him. So just trying to make sure I stayed on track with my questions was a little hard. And then just making sure I made it fast enough for him to get back to whatever he was doing because I didn't want to take off too much time.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Then Charles got a question, too. How chill was Weston Pike?
Weston Pike, like I said, he was probably one of my favorite people to talk to. Mm-hmm. He was really inviting. Doesn't know who I am. My sponsor, All Sports Dynamic Wrist Braces, Jeff Brewer, invited me out to talk to Savacci and Pike. So I knew Pike wasn't racing, so I was like, okay, I don't have to worry about time as much with him. And he was actually one of my longer interviews. So. He was really chill. He invited me and my best friend Hannah into his factory rig, so we got to sit down and chill out. And it was really nice because it brought everything in, and I didn't have to be concerned with timing. And once the door was shut, the camera was on. He seemed dead settled into the questions as well, and he was really chill. I liked working with Weston.
Oh, that's awesome. I think the most chill person I've ever interviewed was Colin Otten. It was like episode 29 and way back, and he was just, he was a good interview, but he was just like mellow and just answered questions and did his thing, and I was like, man, this, like, I could really, I think I'm gonna take a nap right after this interview because.
Yeah.
Oh, Jessica's got a question here too. Now that you have experience interviewing, who would be your ideal rider to interview?
I actually really loved interviewing Seven Deuce Deuce. He was super down to earth, and he was just really down to earth, really good to talk to. He gave really good advice. But I like interviewing privateers. Like I said, they know the struggle, and you learn through adversity. So you learn through that struggle as well. So
that's awesome. Looks like one of your fellow associates with Pressbox has a question too. And, hey, this one I might be able to add value to this question. Why is it important for sponsors to help young riders grow their social following?
Good one, Mike.
That was a little. So I'll let you start it because that was a softball to you, and then
Why is it important to let sponsors help grow their following? When you're a rider, you're representing your sponsors. You're there to help them increase their ROI, help spread their brand, and also grow your brand as well. So when you can represent your sponsors positively, you're also representing yourself. And then you also want to build that loyal connection with your sponsor as well, so you can have an ongoing relationship with them.
Yeah, and I just add to this too. There's this thing, I guess we call edification, but it's where, if one sponsor can help somebody, one of the riders grow, there's this net effect that kind of happens. So if a sponsor is helping a young rider grow their social following, they're getting another avenue of advice or of entertainment for their audience. So maybe it takes somebody who's a passive viewer or a passive follower into somebody that's more of an engaged follower. So direct benefit there. But then you also now pick up any of the sharing or the social things that the other sponsors will do. So if you, Taylor, have 5 sponsors and one of your sponsors shares your information, well, now they're sharing all the other sponsors' connections as well. And then you see that return in kind. So the other sponsors do the same, and then all of a sudden you realize all 5 now have more exposure in social, and the rider themselves has created a stronger brand to then sell more of whatever the product is.
Right. And helping young riders is, that's where the industry is heading. I go out to these trans world, and the Pee-wee class is the biggest class out there. So, sponsoring the younger riders and, transferring that relationship to as they get older, as they get faster, as they start winning more races, then you have a loyal, sponsored rider there that's going to be there with you until the end. So.
Yeah, and I think it's all about growing the industry too. If we can invest in younger riders and racers, that we're going to continue to let this industry thrive. Because there's a risk with anything, any industry, of it dying off one day. So I think people look at the younger riders and racers like that is an investment into our future.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. So Jessica had another question. Do you have any quick tips for girls in the industry on how to get sponsors?
Yeah, I do. So, what I would do to grow my Instagram, and that's how I was able to get my Makeup to Mud, is, you always want to make sure you have good content going up, post about your riding, let them know, you're dealing with stuff, but you're pushing through it. Keep a positive attitude. Be someone that people can look up to, and your sponsors will see that as well, when more people start looking up to you too. Yeah, being a girl, it's hard, we're trying to go race, and, just have a passion for it and let that passion show, and you should be just fine.
Yeah, and this is a good time for young girls or females in motorsports to really hit things hard, because when I talked earlier about wanting the industry to succeed and continue on for future generations, if you look at the primary makeup of riders and racers out there right now, it's still 85 to 90% male, right? So companies are looking at that and saying that is a huge untapped market of females out there, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
it's a huge demographic. It's not being touched.
Exactly. So if you are a female rider or racer that has a good image that people can look up to, that people trust, like put that out there, because I'm going to want to sponsor you. These businesses are going to want to sponsor you, because then that means you're going to attract a whole new generation, a whole new market segment that's largely untapped right now.
Right, and Makeup to Mud really is helping this. It's really pushing this movement with Makeup to Mud. I see a fire, I see a change in the way that women are looked at in motorsports and action sports altogether with Makeup to Mud, and just giving them that 1 minute to 2 minute TV time. That's huge for us, because guess what? You know how many people have seen that and have come to me, and how many younger girls have come to me and asked me for advice? I love it. I love helping everybody out. There's enough room at the top for everyone.
Mm-hmm. No, that's awesome. So Travis Pointer, I think, Travis, you were the one that taught me the word edification in your podcast. I don't know. Hopefully I'm using it right. I have never actually verified that he's telling the truth when he taught me that. So Sean asked the question, are you going to race any supercross events in the future?
I would love to do the amateur supercross.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that fast, but it looked really cool when they had it at Anaheim last year. So maybe I'll make it out to that event, and that will be my supercross.
Are you going to be at the Detroit Supercross?
What's that?
Are you going to be at the Supercross in Detroit, Michigan?
Will I be there?
Yeah.
We'll see what Pressbox can do for me.
Okay. I think I'm going to be there. That's my plan, but I'll be in like the regular person seats, not in the cool person seats. But I maybe not always, but I usually will go to that one. So.
Okay.
Well, good deal. Well, shoot. I'm checking the time again. Just like that, we went over, but that's okay because it's fun and we had a good conversation.
Yeah.
But we're going to close things out a little bit. I just want to remind people that the next live show is going to be with Evan Chendel. He is one of the marketing reps at Polaris. So, yeah, Polaris Razor, they know how to market stuff. He's coming on to talk about that. So that's phenomenal. Really excited to have him on. For tomorrow, we've got the Dirty Dooner podcast mashup that's coming out. I need to edit it and release it tonight because I'm a slacker. But that's coming out. We've got Duncan Lee coming up. We've got Sean Whittycomb coming up. We had Ben White. He's the sponsorship manager at Textron Off-Road. He's coming up in the future. It's good stuff. But at this point, I'm going to close things out and leave it with this. Have fun and ride safe.
Thank you.